The next policy we're going to cover is our cancer policy. Now, we've kind of gone through the other two in great detail, the hospital and the accident. Um, Now I want to go through the cancer policy, and we're just going to kind of skim over this one because now you understand how the policies work, and I don't have to explain every benefit to you, if that's okay with everybody. Basically, what the cancer policy does is it's designed to pay you if you ever contract any kind of an internal cancer. Skin cancer is a separate benefit, but any kind of an internal cancer or your more serious skin cancers, this policy is gonna kick in and pay you. The way it works is just basically, you'll notice on your rate sheet it has a IDR rider. That IDR rider gives you an extra 5,000 on diagnosis plus 500 a year. So 5,000 plus 500 a year. And instead of going through this whole thing, let's just take a scenario. Let's say that let's say you have the policy for 10 years because, quite frankly, the math's easy for me. So you have the policy for 10 years, and basically you're diagnosed with cancer. Well, right off the bat, if you've had it for 10 years, you get 5,000 plus 500 a year, so you get $10,000 on diagnosis. And then you can see that your initial treatment, you're going to get another 3,000, so there's $13,000. Typically on a diagnosis, they're going to schedule you for surgery right away, so you're going to go over here to this surgical benefit on the second page. You see we pay between 140 and 5,000. Let's just take kind of a low middle and say $2,000. That's going to put us up to about $15,000. And then we're going to spend 4 or 5 days in the hospital because hospitalization is recuperating from the surgery and so forth. So 5 days in the hospital at 300 a day is another 1,500. And then we're going to just take the first 4 weeks after that of our chemotherapy, and we're going to do $900 a week for the injected chemotherapy, so there's another 3,600. If you've been following along with the math there, in that first 4 weeks after our diagnosis, we're looking at a little over $20,000, right at $20,000 for that first 4 weeks after diagnosis. And that can be huge to people. 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women will get cancer in their lifetime. And some of you know that your risk is higher. Because of family history or lifestyle or whatever the case may be. So this policy is something that can be huge to people. My boss's mom, as an example, went through a cancer diagnosis, and when she went through her cancer, she had her medical insurance didn't cover $12,000 worth of her bills. Out of network things and just the expenses associated with treatment. But she had Aflac, and Aflac paid her $34,000 during that 3 month struggle with cancer that she had, and she was able to overcome it. And what Aflac did for her was it paid what the medical insurance didn't pay. That was great. But the other thing it did for her, and this is probably more important, is that it made it so she didn't have to come home at night and sit down after going through treatments and look at a stack of bills and say, how am I going to keep my house? How am I going to keep my car? I'm in treatments. I'm not able to work. I'm losing my income. And yet here I am with all these extra expenses. Aflac made it so she didn't have to worry about that. The other thing Aflac can do in that situation is make it so that your spouse can be there with you. I have a coworker who actually told me about years ago. His wife went through cancer. Actually, she died of cancer, but he told me the story of getting off work after a prolonged battle with cancer and driving down to Denver, not knowing at that time, kind of pre-cell phone and things like that, not knowing if he still had a wife because she was going through treatments. They decided that, or she was going through actually a bone marrow surgery. They decided that it didn't do him any good to be there, and that he had to work or else they were going to lose their house. And so this Aflac would have made a huge difference for them, so he could have been there with her while she went through that. And that's what the cancer policy is designed to do. It's designed to give you that safety net, give you that little bit extra so you have those options. So any questions about the cancer policy?